Okay.
I was thinking that yeah, that's been good. That'd be good. I was thinking that on the YouTube page, it would be nice if somebody wanted to get started with Fourth. It would be nice if there was a link to fourth.org or uh, maybe this already exists. Is there an up to date, good place to go getting started with Fourth? Uh, and then there was quiet. I don't want to see your screen, Bob. I'm going to turn off. Okay, I didn't have to. Thank you. uh,
I just want to know what I was talking about. That's all.
okay. Uh, so it was sort of like this thing I was talking about with a bookmark that said, okay, here's a copy of Starting Fourth with normal up to date fourths. Here's a copy of Bill Ragsdale's book in the works. Uh, Bill, are you still out there? He bailed. Wise choice, Bill. Bill was in the middle of saying something, and he was unable to complete his thought. I was hoping he could do that for us now, but he's unfortunately left us. We'll have to ask Bill about his book next month. I meant to do it this month. Let me make a note. I make these notes on the agenda and then file the agenda and never do anything with the notes therefrom. So we'll have to put that in next month's agenda. Fourth day is coming up. So those of you that wish to present, which I hope is all of you, even if it's something from the far distant past, something that you've already talked about, content is content as far as I'm concerned. We're going to restrict Fourth Day to talks about Fourth, things that are related to Fourth. So,
and what month is that?
Fourth Day is traditionally on the third Saturday of November. It has been this way for many, many years. Years in the past, we had it on 11th of November to commemorate, I guess, was it D-Day or Armistice Day? I forget.
So November 16th.
D-Day is in June, so it was Armistice Day or poppies or whatever. All right. So it was not the third Saturday, or if it was, there was some strange math involved. I guess it would have been possible. But anyway, third Saturday of November and third Saturday of December is the December meeting where we clean up all the messes that we made in November. And I'd be pleased to have you present, Chris. And the same goes for all the rest of you ne'er-do-wells.
I'm sure I'll be there.
So think about your talk now, because time is fleeting and it will be here before we know it. I used to start sending out invitations and stuff in August, and it seemed like everything, nothing happened until like a week or two before the actual fourth day. So I've given up actually. I've given up posting to comp.lang.forth. If any of you would care to do so, it's on you. I'm not sure I've actually read comp.lang.forth for 10 or 15 years. I remember one guy, stop me if you've heard this before. I remember one guy that was upset because I had invited Chuck Moore to speak at Fourth Day, and he was doubly mad at me because I had invited Fourth Incorporated uh, to speak. And it was like, you understand that this is Fourth Day, right? But it just goes to show you that Fourth is different things to different people. Uh, so, uh, Dave Jaffe, can you tell me, is there a link in the meeting notes to the YouTube page?
I'm sorry, I was away from keyboard.
Yes, I was heckling you mercilessly. I wanted to ask you, is there a link in the meeting notes to the YouTube page?
Oh, you mean the videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the meeting notes at the top have a link to the videos. There's actually a video videos.html file that has links to all the YouTube pages for all the months that we've been doing videos. And I can.
All right. I looked on YouTube and there's no link to the meeting notes on the YouTube page. So maybe
on the YouTube page.
I'm saying good job, Dave. But
okay.
I'm also further saying that the converse should be true, Brad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was gonna make helpful suggestions where that's in scare quotes. I don't know how helpful they'll be. Maybe 3 links that I'd like to see: the meeting notes, fourth.org, and this getting started page. And I will take it upon myself to do the getting started page and maybe present it next month and suggest to Brad that it be stuck on the instructions or the introduction text of
Certainly.
the
I think
YouTube.
there's a block of text that I forget if it was Dave or who composed, but it was.
There's a block of text. It dates to before Brad, I think. The Dennis
you
Rufer
mean off of,
era.
I thought you meant
YouTube.
the YouTube. At the top of each YouTube video, we now have a boilerplate block of text.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the YouTube page introduction block of text that says the first programming language was invented by Chuck Moore and debuted in the 70s. So, but yes, I think that
probably could do
everywhere.
That could probably do with some updating. Yeah. Yeah, if someone's, if you, Kevin, if you're up for drafting something new for that, that would be great.
Yeah, I just was hoping to do a page that it would refer to rather than revise that. But I can after I've done the page that it will refer to, I can refer to it in a revised copy of the text, and maybe we can add to that template and resolve whatever. So what I'm saying is nobody do anything until I've caught up with all my codifying of all my suggestions and updates and corrections. All right. Have we done enough?
Yeah, I have
Should
one
we
more question
limit?
I'd like to talk about if people are interested.
I'm pleased to talk about it.
Yeah, so I've submitted my thesis. I know how to do these fourth CPUs. I can do multiple cores. I can do all kinds of different things, but I'm not at all sure what I should be doing. All kinds of you can do testing in hardware, which doesn't cost you anything in terms of cycles, like error checking, Actually, that's what I'm working on today is bounds, you can overflow or underflow your stacks, and you can check all of that automatically, do multiple cores. I'm not exactly sure what I should do next. Any ideas?
An operating system,
Pardon?
an operating system that works with that.
Yeah, so my specialty is sort of Verilog and hardware, and there are a lot of people who've written forth operating systems. There's actually a bunch of software. There's like a parsing a BNF parsing software, which is 16 lines of forth I want to port. So porting things over here is interesting. Some people want to see eForth on it. I'm more interested in doing something sort of innovative with the hardware because there are fewer of us who do that and a lot more people who do the software stuff.
A
I have
thought you might think of is doing a debugger if you haven't already.
Yeah, so the debugger is really interesting in hardware. Are there good forth debuggers? I mean, I know Python, the way it does it is just awesome. And I was thinking like that, tools for making it easier for forth developers might be a really good place to be.
Yeah, there aren't any very good ones, and they always tend to
Dennis,
fail.
I have an idea for you.
Pardon?
What functions would you like to implement in this debugger, Dennis? Are you talking about like single step and trace?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of having those at
Okay.
least.
I was
So
gonna,
all the forths don't
I was
have
gonna
single step
take-
and trace?
The best debugger I've seen it was a Sun debugger because you could step backwards and forwards and stop it. Get an error, step backwards, and then because you could undo your operations.
Yeah, those get complicated. Very complicated.
Yeah. I wanted to say two things. One is I thought forth was the debugger. And the other thing was the key to not needing a debugger is not to bugger it the first place.
Exactly.
So those are my two pronouncements about debuggers.
Absolutely, but we all are human.
And that's why being able to program virtually line by line or verb by verb is so important. And I definitely think that one of those things that it's probably a deficit both on Chuck Morse's part and on Ken Iverson's part is that the only way they could program is essentially to have an interactive environment where they could do it and construct your thing line by line as opposed to make a big program.
Yes.
But my other prejudice, of course, is always go and give me 1,000 forth processors so that can be addressed somehow or other in parallel rather than be elaborate on any one processor.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there is
I'd
the
like to say-
GA144, but it has very limited memory and other problems. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody's
it
actually
has
addressed.
very limited I/O and very limited, even I think internal connectivity.
Yeah, so how many
compared-
processors should this thing have? How much memory should each one have? How many words of memory?
Oh,
That's still being debated.
Yeah.
Let me say that I wanted to emphasize that forth is the debugger. The idea that you build small modules and test them in situ and have the whole forth philosophy is the key to not buggering it in the first place, to produce bug-free
Yes.
code. It's a very important concept, and I find that a lot of people don't understand that advantage to forth and to produce reliable, error-free software. But speaking of testing, Bill Ragsdale did a very good talk on putting testing code that you can switch off embedded in your fourth source code. So I refer you to that YouTube video.
What month was that?
That's a good question. Google is your friend. And if you can't find it, drop me an email and I'll try to help you look it up. I know it was on the agenda and that the agenda is on the website. So if you have trouble searching YouTube and finding it, you can go to the SVFig meeting notes and agendas website, thoughtfully maintained by my hero, Dave Jaffe. Thank you, Dave. But I believe it was within the last 8 months.
Okay.
So,
Chris,
there you go.
Chris, my idea for what to do for the next thing to do is possibly to look at what the GA 144 had and to sort of step in that direction and see if we can bring back some of the innovations that Chuck implemented in the GA 144, but because it's so resource constrained that it doesn't seem to be catching on. I sort of want to go in between somehow, but I like his A register and I like some of the other things that he did in the GA 144, and I think that it would make it smaller and more performant to bring back some of the register oriented changes that he made.
So I'll take a closer look at that. I've looked at some of it already. I'll reread what the A register is about. It's pretty easy for me to do like 4 or 8 cores, or maybe let's see, 15, 14, 14 cores, something like that. I don't know if that is on a $35 board. I don't know if that's a price that people want, or they want to spend $100 and $200 and get a lot more cores.
I think if it were me, I would want to that spinal HDL.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to do is to be able to say, well, I need a fourth core with this capability, and I need another fourth core, but with a different capability, and a third fourth core with and I want to take my fourth cores, and some I want to be powerful, and some I want to be really small, and so I think spinal HDL would be a great way to be able to spin the exact kind of fourth core, the capabilities that you need.
Yeah, so that what you're saying resonates with me an awful lot. There's sort of 2 things I think about there. First of all, you want to be able to connect them up however you want. Maybe we have an image processing, right? And this one does this quarter of the image, this one does this quarter of the image, or maybe you have them a whole row of them. So you want to be able to connect them however you want. And then also some of them are going to be driving SPI or some other things. So you need some additional functions in each one. So I think the idea of rather than the GA 144 where they're all the same, but where they can all be different, it can all be connected up, because on FPGAs you can do that sort of thing. So I think that's a really interesting place to be. Thank you.
You're welcome. One final idea is to somehow connect what you're doing up with artificial intelligence so you can get funding. The funding
exactly. Quite.
Maybe you could hire some of us to be working along with you, etc.
Well, the interesting thing is it would be there are some market opportunities here which would require a stack of fourth developers. I don't want to say too much about them publicly, but anyhow, not quite sure what to do there. But I think some of the ideas here are really good. There's also some other stuff you can do for the developers. So in the Verilog world, you've got assertions. So we're probably all familiar with, like in Python, they have if and B are both true, or if A is true and B is false, then flag an error. But you can also do concurrent assertions, which is if in the last clock cycle this was true and now this is true, then flag an error. And so I can imagine that you could do something similar. For example, we have stack effect diagrams, and you could flag an error if the stack effect diagrams were not consistent with before the function subroutine and after the subroutine. So there's a bunch of sort of innovative stuff to help develop this as sort of one direction. But certainly the debug one is a great place to be. I need to go read if the other debuggers are limited or what the, like G4, how good is the debugger there? And then what Mr. Stepan was saying about customizing the connections is also really good.
So I'd like to wrap it up. I'd like
Thank
to
you.
preserve this discussion. What would we like to call it on the YouTube videos, Brad? Maybe meeting wrap up and gate array idea or fourth engine ideas.
Can you
Chris,
hold on a
does
minute?
that suit you? I can hold on.
There's one more thing I wanted to say to Chris. There was a guy. Are you there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. There was a guy who he made his own language to out of Forth to basically do what Verilog does. And
Yeah,
me,
I read this. To
me, Verilog is very complicated, especially when you start getting with the system Verilog part. And you know, I'm never sure exactly when it's RTL and when it's you know, whatever the other one was, I forget. But I thought if you can just simplify FPGA programming by creating a new language, maybe in out of Forth or in Forth.
Yeah, so there's a lot of merit to that kind of thing, and I think that the real opportunity is not to sell Forth to Forth, but because Forth is so small in memory, to build some kind of application on top of it. The Shaboom chip, for example, it actually was a Java chip also. So that idea where, you know, you build it all in Forth, but you give it something that is much larger than the world, like a Verilog or some tool for parallel development or something. So I think that if I knew the problem, in some sense, it's not that hard to do, but you have to know what it is that you are, you know, if you can tell me what the language is, then I can build it, but it's harder for me to figure out what the language should be. Thank you. And of course, if you guys have some other ideas, you know, write to me or talk to me next month or something. I'm always open.
Thank you.
I can give you the Discord server that I usually hang out on if you want. Let me post that in the chat. But thank you.
That would be nice.
You can read my
Bob
thesis.
Armstrong, did you mean cozy.com, not cozy.con?
I thought I had corrected that. I guess I didn't. Yes, it's calm.
All right. Paul was asking if it was a link, and that's the link to cozy.com.
No, I meant the link. I meant the link for the FPGA stuff in Forth or something.
With stuff going back, if you dig into Cozy, going back to 1996.
You could have a conversation with Bob on that subject. I think it's time to pull the plug on the recorder. Does that seem reasonable to everyone concerned?
Bye-bye.
All right. A motion to adjourn. The things I learned from Robert Heinlein are endless. I learned from Robert's Rules of Order. A motion to adjourn is always in order. It takes precedence. It's voted immediately. It has various other characteristics that we need not get into now. So let us terminate the recording.